that's what we're looking for the schedule. All right. Hopefully that sounds good. And there you go. Now, what I'd like to do today, because we have a little bit of extra time, we're going to do a little bit of suggestion box stuff. So I'm actually going to go to that suggestions thread that has now been live for about a little over a week. And I'm going to pull up some suggestions from said thread. Okay. So last time around, I was at... Okay. Let me refresh now. Actually, I don't need to refresh. I can just keep going from here. Crap, now I lost my spot. Here it is. Would you consider... Okay, we're going to do suggestion box. Ready? Would you consider going back to Call of Duty to add to variety maybe once every few weeks for a night stream? We were going to do that, and what happened was people didn't want it. Remember, we were going to do it during my Super Bowl event. People weren't too much for it. I wanted to do it last week. People weren't too much for it. In fact, they wanted to see me just hang out, so we did that chill stream last week. Remember, where I just hung out with the audience? Yeah, I think, I'll be honest, I like Call of Duty. I think it's silly fun. I don't take it seriously, but when I play it, I go ham with dual handguns and stuff. I like that, but I just think, like, the appeal of Call of Duty has died out. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool for, like, a month, and then people are, like, tired of it because it's the same thing. I mean, let's be honest. Call of Duty has not innovated in many, many years. They don't even try anymore. So, I get it. You get that 1 month of action. People want to see it in the rotation, and then people are like, meh, they'd rather much see other things. So, yeah, I don't think Call of Duty is coming back. Stop going over the schedule every day and recap what you did the previous day. It's boring, pointless, and filler. So you're telling me right now, as I'm explaining to all of you how I'm going to be playing a ton of Final Fantasy VII, how I just told you the schedule is changing, and I'm probably going to add in Retro React every week moving forward, but we're going to have other nights off for taxes. All this stuff that I'm telling you that's very important, that you need to know, I shouldn't tell you. So what I should do is just randomly turn the stream on and off every day, and if you know it's happening, great, and if not, oh well. So basically, you want me to be like Wings of Redemption. No, I'm not going to be like Wings of Redemption, and I'm not going to be like other streamers who don't plan, don't focus, they're not transparent with their audience. I'm not everybody else. If you want to watch everybody else, you can go watch everyone else who isn't meticulous about planning and being transparent and explaining what they're going to do. You can just go do that and then be upset when they're not streaming. Why are they said they were going to do? Where are they? I don't get it. What are they doing today? No one knows. Are they even streaming today? I don't know. Go watch them. Have fun. No one's stopping you. But if you want something that's treated professionally, seriously, and I'm on time and I work my butt off every day, that's what you're here for, right? So if you don't like that, don't come by to watch the content that's well planned, and I explain to you when the plans change. A lot of the times, all right, the reason why I do the schedule on the streams is very simple: to get immediate feedback. I can start, like today, I already found out. I said, gee, you know, if we did a Retro React next week, what should we do? And immediately people are like, how about Batman Arkham City? How about BioShock? So I'm getting the feedback I need. If I just do this stuff without any immediate feedback, I'm just talking to a wall. You know, I don't know what people would like. I want opinions. I want to take in said opinions to improve, right? That's how you actually do well in this kind of a landscape versus just making decisions for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But I don't understand why people don't understand that. Like, maybe it's boring to you, but it serves a humongous purpose and has been a boon. By the way, I should say this again. There are tons of people who tune into my streams just for the podcast, and they have a lot of fun on the podcast when I go over this stuff because they feel like they're a part of it. They feel like they can impact it. In fact, they can impact it by just being there and talking in the chat right now. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Okay. All right, let's continue on. I will not be surprised if you ignore this post. Well, does it sound like I'm ignoring it? I'm reading it right now. Number one, you made chat an integral part of your gameplay so much that the sense of exploration or adventure when you touch a new title is evaporated. You rely on your chat for more innocuous decisions and solutions. You abandon enjoyment in watching a streamer discovering a mechanic or overcoming a hurdle. Consider the rule you have about spoilers from your own chat rules and actually applying it. When it's okay to ask for chat's input from time to time, you have become more aware. You straddle the line for aid to over-reliance. So basically what you're saying is you don't like the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. Because that's what this is. Because this doesn't apply to literally any other playthrough. It only applies to the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. Every playthrough that I do, everybody knows it's in the rules. You are not to outright spoil. You are not to tell me what to do. You're not going to do plot points. You're not going to do combat. I have to figure it out for myself. If I feel like I'm stuck or there's something I'm not understanding, then I will turn to chat and we'll talk about it, right? But it has to be with my blessing or permission. People who spam spoilers and stuff get banned. It's against the rules. It always has been. The one exception has been Baldur's Gate 3, because since day one with the Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, it has been, I don't understand this universe. I don't play D&D, so I don't get the lore. I don't understand dice rolls. I certainly don't understand the meticulous rule set of the combat of Baldur's Gate 3. This is all new to me, right? Imagine if you were walking into a building and everything was written in Greek, right? Now, you kind of know what the building is for, but you can't read anything because it's all written in Greek. So do you just stand there trying to figure out the Greek for yourself with a book, trying to translate on the fly? Or do you have someone who's a Greek translator come in with you to tell you what everything is so you can efficiently do things in the building? Which would you prefer? Translating with the book for yourself or having the translator help you? That's essentially what the chat is right now for Baldur's Gate 3. They're translating this very foreign game into a language I can understand. For the most part, all right, I am getting it. And in fact, take a look at the last couple of streams, all right, if you would like. Because what you'll find is, as I've approached Baldur's Gate in Rivington, I'm walking around and I'm exploring for myself. So I'm finding as much as I can, and then if I happen to have missed one or two things, people will tell me. So for example, I was about to enter Baldur's Gate yesterday, and someone was like, no, listen, you actually missed out. There's a fun area underneath where you are. If you go explore, you'll find it, and there's some optional combat. Now, I didn't even know what the combat was, but I listened to them. I went down there. I found it, and that way we got a little bit more. And by the way, doing that combat led to a discovery of a map. That map led us into an alternate area, into this fort. That allowed us to do a side mission to rescue someone from the prison and have an escape route. So if that person had not recommended to me, hey, here's something you completely missed, go check it out, we wouldn't have done any of that. So is that what you want? You want a playthrough where I skip a ton of content because it's easily missable because that's how the game developers made it? Or, well knowing that I'm not going back to Baldur's Gate 3 to do a second run, would you prefer that I do most of the content in the first one? Because that's the difference between you and me. You very well may like Baldur's Gate 3 enough that you go back and do multiple runs. I can't. I'm a variety streamer. I've already put 100 hours in. This playthrough's going to be like 130, 140 hours. I can't go back and play it again. So I have to do all the meaningful stuff in one run. If you have a problem with people helping me to find the content, then don't watch the playthrough. Play it for yourself 7 times. There's nothing wrong with that, but telling me that I'm taking too much input from my chat when it's literally only applies to one playthrough, and it's because of a very specific circumstance that was explained up front when I started the playthrough. It was even a big disclaimer on part 1. This will be a very interactive playthrough. The only reason I'm playing it is because I said that I wanted people to help me with it because I don't get it. And I know this is going to be a giant learning curve, and I'm going to need this kind of aid. And I know it's a one-time run, so let's do it all at once. This was all explained up front. If you didn't listen, that's on you, not on me. But that's the point. I can read between the lines and stuff like this. This person is so upset. The first thing they say is, I wouldn't be surprised if you skip this comment. So, by the way, stop taking suggestions from your stream chat. What are you talking about? Right? Literally, when I start playing a game, the first thing that people say, okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to go through that door. You're going to head right. There's an enemy there hiding. Don't get hit by that enemy. Then dodge left and right. None of that happens. You're an idiot. You're a liar. All right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to create a straw man. And then you present that straw man as a fact. It's not a fact. It's the straw man you created to present an argument that isn't, it's fallible. It's false. It's a false narrative. Okay? If you don't like Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough because of the way I've done it, don't watch it. Play it yourself. And don't try to generalize comments like this because it just makes you look stupid. Okay? Cool. Just listen to this. I love this. Because this guy, every comment this guy leaves is angry. Right? Every comment. A literal, like an angry, butthurt comment. Right? Apply your rules regarding bullying and harassing in your chat. Because apparently I just let people bully and harass others all day long in my chat. Do you see? This is the classic case of a loaded questions or loaded suggestions. They're proposing scenarios that don't exist as if they do. To then say, well, here's a criticism. But your criticism is invalid. Do I allow people to come into my chat and bully and harass others all day long? No. Lots of other streamers do. People actually say the opposite of my chat. That is not allowed, right? And a lot of people complain about that. They say, oh, man, you know, Phil, he doesn't allow that stuff. So now we don't have freedom to say what we want or something, right? But it's true. The truth is, people have a good time in the chat because they don't have to worry about a lot of people attacking each other. They don't have to worry about people being bullying and nasty to each other. Does it happen sometimes? Yes. I can't always stop it. You see when I call it out. Absolutely. You see me call it out and stop that shit and put an end to it, right? But there you go, right? I'm not even going to read another word from this guy. Do you want to know what he said in this comment? He says there's cases of erotic role play permeating the active discourse. Why am I even reading this? Do you see? He actually said that. Listen to this. He says there is a lack of moderation. There's a cultivation of a community of bullies and harassers, of legitimate viewers and active fans. It's a combination of spam trolling and erotic role play permeating the active discourse of my chat. It's obvious the reason the person said up front, you're not going to post this comment, is because they wanted me to read the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, right? Let me tell you guys, at every moment, it's just erotic roleplay in my chat. I mean, that's the problem. It's a major problem. I've been reported so many times for it. It's completely out of control. Right? I mean, totally. That's not the polar opposite of the truth. And, and people don't give me shit all the time for not making sexual comments and not partaking in any kind of romantic relationships and games. It's that we're just constantly doing erotic roleplay. Gotcha. All right. I've had enough of reading that comment. We'll move on to another one. That was a complete waste of time. Good Lord. Let's see. By the way, that guy, no kidding, he had like 10 bullet points in his comment. 10 things he actually expected me to go through when the first 2 were so ludicrous. Okay. Let's go. Okay. Well, the chat is responding pretty appropriately to that comment. Okay. I've been a fan of yours since Heavy Rain. Ugh. I hair in my mouth. Ugh. Okay. I get why you had to change from how you used to be. Nowadays, I do find you kind of boring. I mean, put me to sleep boring. I haven't been able to watch any videos since Hades. I try, but somehow you need to figure out how to become more entertaining. Well, here's the thing. There's different kinds of content. There's different kinds of entertainment. All right? Sure, 10, 15 years ago, I was known as the over-the-top, anything goes, equal opportunity offender. Like, that's what I called myself. I'm the equal opportunity offender. I will criticize and make jokes about any race, any creed, any gender. It'll be about sex. It'll be about violence. It'll be about, ethnicity. As long as they're generalized jokes. That's the thing. I never wanted to make it so that a certain group felt like they were being targeted. And I don't think I ever really received a complaint about that. Normally it would be that, yes, by the time that it was your turn for a joke, some people would be like, oh, man, it's hard to take. But then again, Phil kind of jokes about everything, so it's kind of fair, right? Back in the day, no one complained. No one had issue with that commentary, all right? Now they do. Now anything like that is considered an absolutely horrible joke. Anytime I even try to make a dark joke these days, people criticize. I mean, take a look at the playthrough that I did. I don't even remember the name of the game anymore, all right? But it was the game about the heist went wrong, right? That there were like 3 brothers who were doing a heist at like a gas station, and there's other survivors in there, and basically there's a girl and there's a corrupt sheriff. So I made a joke in the playthrough, all right, that the corrupt sheriff, who, by the way, there's evidence in the game, he has a black book of horrible things he's done to the town. He's basically blackmailing the town. He's a drug dealer. He's a scumbag. So I make a dark joke that this guy also may be like taking in kids and having like a whole kind of slave trade deal going on too, because that's the kind of thing a guy like that would do. If this guy really was ruling the town with an iron fist and he's like this underworld kingpin, but he's the sheriff too, don't you think he would be doing more awful things? So I make the comment, and people, oh, horrible joke, awful. Don't you see how that joke's terrible? What an awful thing to say. And I'm like, that's literally the kind of joke I made every 5 seconds back in the day in my old commentary. Like, that's a mild joke compared to the kind of jokes that I used to make back in the day. It really, really is. So the fact that today you can't even make dark jokes because you'll be, you know what I'm saying? People are, oh my God, a dark joke. They can't take it, right? So that's why in the modern era, you can't be like that anymore. You just can't. You can be if you constantly want to be the subject of a drama discourse. Like if you're doing it today, you obviously are not a serious creator. All you're trying to do is get people to talk about you in a negative light, so at least your name's out there. And that's not my goal. I literally could today go right back to that style of commentary. And if I did, I would be talked about all over the internet. Oh my God, did you hear Dark Side Phil went back to this awful commentary? It's over the top, cancel culture shit, right? But I don't want to do that. My content today has evolved, all right? And here's the thing. It's evolved to the point where I'm no longer in line with what most people on YouTube want, because most people on YouTube want immature drama crap. That's not me, right? That's like saying you were going to make a TV show. And so you made a TV show that was professionally made with all kinds of interesting plots and good vibes and things, but it doesn't get a lot of attention. But then someone made Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the dumbest, most vapid, empty-headed piece of dog shit television ever created, and that's the most popular thing on TV, so that's the right way to go, and you should keep making that, right? No. I've made the most vapid, shitty content on YouTube back in the day. I know that now, and I've matured and I've grown up from that kind of content. I don't want to make constant sex jokes. I don't want to make constant racial jokes. I don't want to be making these offensive comments for the sake of getting a rise out of people anymore. I'm past that. In fact, if you look at my demographics on YouTube, all right, you will see that my demographics over the years have completely changed. My audience in 2010 was a bunch of teenagers. I know, because I used to pull the demographics and always used to say, yeah, all of your all your viewers are teenagers, right? Now I pull my demographics and it says, whoa, now most of my viewers are in their mid-20s to mid-30s or mid-30s to 40s. That's where all of my viewers are. Older people, adults around my age range who are looking for a different kind of content, right? That's what people want. They do not want trash, stupid drama on this channel, right? Now, there are people who want trash and stupid drama. They're not my viewers. They're my haters. They're scumbags out there. And that's literally, why do you think the top YouTubers right now are people who are doing drama shit constantly? Even the gamers. I mean, the gamers are constantly causing drama, doing drama stunts and things. That's how they are. That's what dumb teenagers like. That's not the content that I make, okay? I've grown and evolved over the years. I understand what this person is saying, but again, sadly, this is something you'll come to a realization about in life, okay? Things change. They do. People change. Things change for the better, all right? If you're looking for someone who's now been through the YouTube grinder, 16 years of my life I've been doing this. I have all the experience, all the knowledge. I know about how the games industry works. I know about all this shit. If that's the kind of stuff that you want to hear, you want to come here and see honest takes on games. You want to hang out with me for a podcast every day and have some honest discourse about things going on in the world. You want to have some fun laughing at the past on the Throwback channel. You want me to laugh at and react to content from all over the internet on the React show, DSP versus the internet. This is the kind of content you can get. It's not going to be mainstream content. That's not what YouTubers are looking for. Excuse me. This is not what YouTube viewers are looking for. They're looking for the same vapid, drama, crap content that I was making 15 years ago. But that's not me anymore. I'm 41, about to be 42. Okay? So, that's why it's different. And again, when people say to me, oh, you changed for the worse, you're boring now, then it's time to move on. Right? If you don't like who I become as a person, despite the fact that I feel my content is more meaningful today than it ever was before, it's not harmful to anyone. That's a key factor. When you're watching my gameplay, when you're watching my podcast or my React stuff, there's no one getting hurt. Right? I'm not causing drama. I'm not trying to cause fights and stuff, right? That's just the truth. And I like that a lot. The fact that every day I can go to sleep and say, hey, I didn't actually have to hurt anyone to make $1 today, right? Didn't have to insult anyone, didn't have to cause any problems for anyone. I was just able to entertain an audience and make a living doing it. That's an honest paycheck. That's an honest day's work right there, right? Unlike the shit that they're doing on these popular YouTube channels, I'm being honest about it, right? I said, I'm basically the blue collar content creator, busting my ass, working hard every day, not hurting anyone, just making a living, getting by, and hanging out with you guys, and that's what it's all about, all right? Versus what they do out there, pulling their stunts, being fake, doing all this fucking bullshit, scamming and all this shit. I'm not involved with any of that. And I hope that you understand and appreciate that I'm different, all right? So yeah, if that's the case and you don't get it, and you don't like the modern me, then it's time to move on. People change it in time, man. It's, you know, it's like they say, a lot of people who I used to watch back in the day have changed. The angry video game nerd absolutely changed. The nostalgia critic changed. Fuck, Howard Stern apparently is completely different today than what he used to be. If you don't like what people become as they evolve, that's fine. That's just the human condition, is that things change over time. You have to accept it. Just don't sit there denying it or demanding that the past comes back. That's never going to happen. I'm never going to be Phil from 2010 again. It just won't happen. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. You understand? I'm a different person. Okay. Edit your throwback videos into longer format playthroughs. Have them only in 3 long parts. That way you can get through older playthroughs faster. Add chapters. People can always go back and finish the video. For perspective here, the content on the DSP Throwback channel, all right? Right now we're making 30-minute parts, okay? To make those 30-minute parts takes 4 to 5 hours of video of editing. Just running it through the editor, encoding it, okay? Can you imagine if right now, for the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough, which is around 35 hours long, that we tried to make a 12-hour video, the PC would be running for 2 weeks just to encode one video. It wouldn't work. What you're saying is preposterous. Maybe if I had a giant network of supercomputers, right? A server farm trying to fucking encode the video, maybe. That it's never going to happen. Okay? So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, basically the thing is, people just have these crazy misconceptions about things. Oh, it should be so easy to do that content. Really? You think that taking those videos that look and sound atrociously bad, like some of them you can't even make out what I'm saying in the video at this point, because now, you know, years later, you're so used to the modern technology, it looks like shit, it sounds like shit. You think that running those videos through upscaling AI, through noise correcting AI, right, then combining them together, that this should take like 20 minutes. Well, let me know what alternate universe you live in. I'd like to visit this multiverse where everything is like this. Really, I'd love to see it. It doesn't exist, but I'd love to know, because again, these people are living in an alternate reality when they think about this shit. They just want what it's called instant gratification. I want it my way, immediately, for free, and if you don't give it to me my way immediately for free, you're doing it all wrong and it's your fault, right? Listen, basically the way I see it is, the way that those videos are releasing is good. It gives you a little bit of content every day, half an hour, right? It doesn't overwork the editors, so they're not having to pump 20, 30, 40 hours into each video, which would be ludicrous. Do you know how many views those videos are getting? On average, 100 to 200. Do you really think that we should run it through an editor for that long to get 100 views on a video? What are you talking about, right? Like, you're out of your mind. This way, we can guarantee new content every day, right? Because they're half an hour parts. And there's no lull. If you're interested in the playthrough, you can keep following it and watching it. Why on earth would we try to pump that much effort into those videos, edit it for 2-3 days straight to pump out a 5-6 hour video that's going to get 100 views, right? Like, what are you talking about? Again, please give me instant gratification of every single thing that I want with absolutely no rationale of why that would make sense or even any kind of understanding of what you're doing on the channel. Just give it to me now. No. We will not do that, okay? Shorten the podcast and dive into gameplay sooner. That one I've heard 4,000 times. We've already explained that in reality, a lot of the support and engagement that I'm getting these days on certain streams actually is from the podcast. There's been certain days when I talk and we have a good conversation and good fun and I get support, and then I start the game and it's dead. Right now, we are leaning more towards content outside of the raw gameplay. This is going to continue to happen in the future. So oh, just get rid of the podcast, shorten the podcast. It's the opposite is what's going to happen, because that's what actually what's going on is there's more support. Last week, you guys literally voted to have a chill night with me where all we did was talk, and it went well. That stream went well. So why are you getting at me a comment here, drop the podcast, make a shorter podcast? No, people want more. That's what I'm seeing. The actual evidence versus this kind of one-off suggestion, the evidence is people are liking it more. So do more of it. Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. So this one actually is a good one. It says, you should try diving into YouTube By the way, this should probably be the last suggestion we take for today because I got to get the shout-outs and stuff. You should dive into your YouTube analytics for podcasts. See what segments of the show have spikes or dips in viewer retention. Does the retention start to go down when you bring up a schedule? Consider shortening that segment. Does the retention spike when you discuss gaming news? Consider covering more gaming news or even expand into entertainment news. My robo-generated timestamps likely help with these stats, encouraging people to click through to parts of the podcast that interest them, lowering retention for parts they want to skip past, and raising retention for parts they want to watch. On a video's analytics page, there's a retention graph under engagement tab. The graph can provide valuable information as to who actually tunes into the podcast and why they're successful. Consider sifting through the retention graphs for multiple podcast episodes to recognize patterns in audience interest. This is all really good constructive criticism. I want to do that. My challenge is twofold. The first challenge of this is finding time to do it. When I'm already sitting here in this office, 8 to 10 hours a day, streaming, uploading, schedule, all this stuff, right? And it's taking up the vast majority of my time already with what I'm doing. I don't know when I'm going to find time to sit and sift through analytics. Now, I'd love to do this. Maybe what I could do, I'm curious if you could do it on the phone, like in the app, because I don't think you can. I think you have to do it actually in the real YouTube dashboard. Like, I have analytics in the YouTube apps and stuff that I have, but it's not the full-fledged stuff. It's like a mobile downgraded version. But I'd have to look into this, okay? I would. I'd have to dive in. So, for example, what I could do, this very podcast, let it sit for a day or two, right? Go and look at the analytics, and there's engagement analytics, and see, when did people come in and watch? When was their spikes? When were their dips? You know, what happened? That's what I got to figure out. The other challenge, and this sadly is a big challenge, okay, is knowing the fact that sadly, I'm not just making content for me. I'm making content that goes into other circles. And here's what I mean by that. Detractors. Every single day when I'm streaming, there's thousands of people rewatching this stream on someone else's stream. And when something gets said that's inflammatory, like for example, let's say, I don't know, Tevin is restreaming me today. And there's some particular meme he brings up, or there's something that I'm saying, a topic that he finds interesting, right? So then he'll bring it up on his stream. All of a sudden, some of his viewers will jump onto my stream, right? And what happens is that skews the audience, all right? And by the way, I just said Tevin because he's a common restreamer. Everyone says that he's someone who restreams me all the time for stuff, right? So basically what'll happen is there'll be spikes. Like I'll even see, oh my God, I would look, why on earth do I have like 600-700 viewers right now? I don't even understand it. Like, where did that come from, right? And you'd be like, well, that's because someone was restreaming you. They said a comment about what you were saying, and so their viewers came over to see your stuff, right? To comment in the chat themselves or whatever. You'll notice all of a sudden there'll be a ton of accounts that will come into the chat and all start saying the same thing. And that's because you know where they came from. They came from a restreamer's stream. And that skews the data. So it sucks because, for example, if you're trying to use analytics to figure out, oh, I wonder, you know, what really was the most engaging part of the podcast, right? And it'll be, oh, it's when someone tipped $1 and started talking about Review Tech USA in a negative way, and you commented on it. But in reality, your viewers don't care about that. That's the detractors. They care about that content. So they came to the stream to see it, but your viewers didn't give two shits. Your real supportive viewers. That's a problem. There's no way to tell in analytics where your real engagement is coming from. Like, what did my actual viewers and fans who are here every day, what did they like about my show today? That you can't tell, really, you know, because you're going to get those spikes and those interferences from outsiders. How many people can say every time that they put out content on YouTube, there's 1,000 people watching them on other streams that could skew their analytics at any moment? Right? Probably not many. Maybe me and a few other people who get restreamed all the time, like Wings and stuff like that. Probably a few of us, but not that many, right? We're in a unique situation where these tools sadly don't get used as much because we can't really use them because they get thrown for a loop whenever that kind of stuff happens, right? But I like the suggestion, I guess, because it would be a lot easier for me to do this stuff, for example, on my phone. Like, let's say, for example, you know, I'm on my day off, and Kat and I are relaxing in the living room. We're watching something together. Maybe Kat's playing a game, and I'm watching her play. But maybe then I could pop open my phone and get the app open and say, let's take a look at the podcast from 2 days ago. Let's see the spikes and things and try to coincide those with the timestamps and see what people liked about the show or not, right? But if I got to come into this office and sit here dedicated, sitting in front of the freaking YouTube dashboard to do it, and I'm away from my family to do it, I don't see how I'm going to have time to do it. That's the problem. I'm already to the point where I've worked myself as much and stretched myself as thin as I can get. People are saying, we're not getting enough of the games we want. We're not getting enough of the React content we want. Then saying, oh, by the way, on top of that, spend more time analyzing your data and stuff. It's like, I cannot do any more time. I can't. That's the limits of my time. You know what I mean? Like, I have to draw a line in the work-life balance at some point, and I'm already working too much. So there's got to be a split at some point. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see, because I think it's a great suggestion. I actually do. I don't want to say, oh, I'm just going to discredit this entire suggestion. I think the suggestion is very valid and useful. I just don't know how I can implement it right now. Okay. Well, that's enough of suggestion box for today. We got to get to shout outs now.